Donald Trump's poll numbers overall have been dropping, and even on his marquee topics, his policies he ran on like deportation, he's not been doing well. And so he's trying to reconfigure things and figure out how to sell these policies, both to the broader public, but also to the MAGA movement. And often that involves doing things that would seem to work directly at cross purposes with each other. And so for the third time in just the last month, he's flip-flopping on one of the big topics, which is, who should we be trying to deport? Now, I know the cover story is we're deporting the worst of the worst, but that's for the marks, that's for the rubes. He knows that they're going in and they're trying to get workers. Basically, that's the only way you can generate the numbers he needs. But the issue is that he's friends with the people who own the restaurants and the farms and the hotels that they're raiding. And so every week or two, he's flip-flopping on, well, I guess we could go in there because Stephen Miller really wants to deport those people. Oh, wait, that actually hurts my donors, so we can't. But then Stephen Miller's the last guy who talked to me. And so right now, I think we're flipped back to something like sanity. So we're gonna show you this video, but just understand, he might flip-flop again by the time you're done watching this.
I cherish our farmers. And when we go into a farm and we take away people that have been working there for 15 and 20 years who were good, who possibly came in incorrectly. And what we're going to do is we're going to do something for farmers where we can let the farmer sort of be in charge. The farmer knows he's not going to hire a murderer. You know, I'm on both sides of the thing. I'm the strongest immigration guy that there's ever been, but I'm also the strongest farmer guy that there's ever been. And that includes also hotels and, places where people work, a certain group of people work. So we're working on it right now. We're going to work it so that some kind of a temporary pass where people pay taxes, where the farmer can have a little control as opposed to you walk in and take everybody away.
That's a great idea. They should set something up like that. And then they should come up with like a nice, concise, pithy label for a program like that, like a work visa. They should have visas for workers that Trump just came up with live on that interview with Maria Bartiromo. And so all of that is insane, and it's insulting to your sanity to have to listen to this guy talk about how he's a strong farmer guy. He ain't a strong anything. Also, he's been screwing farmers over in both of his terms. But also, he says there, well, sometimes you have people who've been here for a long time and they've been working and they haven't really done anything wrong. Yeah, thank you for catching up to the conversation we've been having about migrants this entire time. And he says, well, in some of these cases, these are people who are working. No, in all of the cases, these are people who are working. They don't just, though, work in farms and restaurants and hotels. Many do, but they work in a lot of other places too. And I know that maybe you don't know as many CEOs who work in those places, but it's the same thing. They are contributing, they are paying taxes, they're doing their jobs. And so he sort of sometimes gets that briefly, but who the hell knows? He's like, June 17th, this was a headline. He had already previously said that the good longtime workers would be given a reprieve, but then he reversed it, and now he's reversing the reversal. And there's also the really strange thing where he's like saying now the CEO will be responsible for them. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. That's really strange. Like the whole thing has shades of like slave masters. I don't want them having control over these people or whatever. Why don't you be responsible? Why don't you set up a reasonable and ideally compassionate immigration system? But anyway, that's what he's doing on the surface to try to reassure people, hey, I'm not as bloodthirsty as I actually am and have been. At the same time, though, you've got Alligator Alcatraz, which they're using to win over the base. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But JR, first, your thoughts on what we were just talking about.
He used a certain kind of language, as you guys know. He's flipped back and forth constantly. These are people who possibly, he said this, possibly came in incorrectly. That's the terminology. So let's pay attention to that terminology when he's speaking to the people who donated to him, or these other CEOs and big farm companies that are like, yo, hold up, don't you know we're exploiting these people's labor for our benefit because we're capitalists. Just calm down with all this. What are you doing, bro? I didn't buy you for you to start screwing over my business. What's the matter with you? He has no idea. So now it's no longer people who possibly came in incorrectly. It's switched over from rapists, murderers, drug dealers, and human traffickers that are coming into your house to steal your children. It's weird how that works. So if you pay attention to how he changes his language when he's talking to people that he has to respect, you'll understand that when he's talking in a completely disingenuous way, a hateful way about certain people, he's also doing that because he's speaking to people like you, MAGA folks, who he expects to be hateful, rabid, bloodthirsty, bigoted people. It's not us calling you bigots, it's Donald Trump calling you bigots. Because suddenly when he needs these undocumented workers here, they're just people who possibly, maybe, who knows, maybe came in incorrectly. But other than that, we're sweeping them off the streets and kicking them in the back and handcuffing them and throwing them into dark prisons somewhere. Bro, it's just pay attention.
Yeah, it's the thing he sold in the campaign trail. The country's filled with millions of migrant murders. That was just a myth. They just ran on that. It's not true. You can't actually have a policy based on that because it's not true. In the same way that the crime spree that they ran on wasn't true. A report came out. Nobody cared. Nobody talked about it. Murder rates could hit record lows this year, and that's a pattern. The last 3 years, down, 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 down. Weird how everybody's like, oh, there's murders everywhere. And no, murders are down. Now, police killings are up. They're continuing to rise, but there wasn't the crime spree. There wasn't the migrant murders. That was all a lie. And so now he's scrambling to figure out what to do. So he has to reassure people that they're not gonna wreck their businesses. At the same time, MAGA wants pain. They want blood, okay? And so he's got a way of delivering that. And so Trump could apparently visit Alligator Alcatraz, the stupid stunt where, oh, we just really hope some migrants get eaten by alligators, that stupid thing. Yeah, he's gonna go. Meanwhile, Homeland Security, this is the actual Homeland Security Twitter account, posted this. You remember for literally years, I've been talking about how Trump talked about having a moat on the border wall where alligators would eat people. And then some people will be like, why are you exaggerating? Why do you have Trump derangement syndrome? It's just the same thing brought back. That's literally all it is. Wouldn't it be great if an alligator ate someone that was trying to get a job like, doing demolition work at a Home Depot? What if they were eaten by an alligator? Wouldn't that be swell? Again, I say these people need to find Jesus and they need to find him fast. But anyway, there's been protests against this. Hundreds of people gathered to protest. I think you have video right there, thankfully, on the highway. They don't want this facility to be set up. They're braver than me. Any area that close to that many alligators, I probably would not be protesting outside of, but I love that they are and standing for sanity. In some cases, standing for religious values. You also have Native American leaders in the region. They see the massive expansion, which we'll get to, of this facility as encroaching on their homeland. So you have a lot of different interests all aligning against this. And by the way, they had sold it as 1,000 beds. Now they want it to be 5,000 beds. So get ready to spend billions of dollars helping to subsidize their fantasy that an empanada saleswoman will be eaten by an alligator. Jared, what do you think?
Yeah, it's the process, right? Any way to make more money. Again, every time they talk about fraud, waste, and abuse, try and determine how much fraud, waste, and abuse is going into trying to build something like this so it could have more cruelty in the country. You're paying. You go to work every day and your taxes come out and you're supposed to be paying for cruelty and hatred and incarceration for people throwing some alligators around them for the shock value of, yeah, we really stuck it to those people who are trying to live. Your entire political thought process, your theology with Donald Trump is to be bigoted, hateful, and go after certain people that are working, that are living, that have families, because you hate humans. It's the normalization of hateful, inhumane normalcy in the world. And look, if we watch children get shot up in schools, that's what we were all about before. They're like, oh, we ran the test run. They don't care that we've increased the number of guns in our society as more and more children get murdered on a daily basis. Who cares? Now that we know they really don't care about humanity, let's go ahead and have them pay for more of it. Oh, are we this stupid?
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's gonna cost a ridiculous amount of money. Again, so that they can do what? They can, in Trump's words, just take people who've been working in restaurants for 20 years and ship them out because they had something in their paperwork that was wrong. Let's spend billions of dollars for that. By the way, this is just the continuation of something that seems just baked into American politics vis-a-vis Florida. Read about the prior genocide in Florida against native populations there. This goes back a long, long way.